Right. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to our workshop. Yeah. So today I will be looking at public web. Right. So I've already given the resources here. I've uploaded the resources here for you to make, for you to test out this public web, and as well as for you to also look for different images from Unsplash. And so, yeah, from the resources previously that we can obtain from free photos, or from Google search itself, you can find any sports dudes, or any form of photos that you intend to change the position of the character, all right, of the subject matter, right? So this is where we are going to do some adjustments, and we are going to do some adjustments to the subject matter, which I'm going to demo it to you guys, and also we're going to cover a little bit on content content aware skill, right? So there's two things. One is we are going to do a public wrap where we're going to change the position, or you can also animate this later on, as well as how do you want to edit and make a post, right? So without further ado, so let's start. Okay, so based on the resources given, this is what I have already brought into Photoshop. I've already created a document. You guys can create a document. You can download the images, yeah, from the class materials, right? So you can pick it up, and now we are going to make or change the position of this character, and we are trying to compose it within this background, right? So first and foremost, drag and drop, or you can even do a placement, yeah, by going to file, place, embed, or linked, as we have already I have already demoed this previously in the previous classes, earlier classes, a workshop. Yeah, you can place that, or you can just drag and drop the images back here in Photoshop, right? Firstly, you will see the size of the image is going to be slightly smaller as opposed to the document that I have, the canvas that I have. So number one, you can crop this accordingly. So you can drag by using C for Cambodia or Canada. Yeah, C, the shortcut key is C on the keyboard. Yeah, tap on that, you get the crop tool. All you have to do is drag and drop to the actual image size and press enter. So what it does is it will rescale the document, or this or the canvas, according to the size of the image, right? So we want this basketball player sort of, yeah, so he's going to jump around and he's going to be on this beautiful car parking lot. All right, so before we do the edit, we have two images. One is the freestyler basketball dude, all right, and the car park as a background. And as you can see, the freestyler is now on white. Yeah, this can be obtained from the Adobe stock photos, or you can just take it from anywhere. Yeah, so find something that is PNG, or if you have this background attached to it with a watermark as such, then all you have to do is use W. Yeah, make sure that you choose the layers, right, and tap on the white background, right, and make sure that the selection is proper by refining these selections, right? So refine the selections so it only chooses the what they call only the character. I'm going to go to the marquee tool, and I'm going to hold shift to also deselect these sections that I don't need, right? And I'm going to hold control or command shift I, right, to do the inverse selection and hit on mask, right? So right now you can see everything is now cleared. It has created a mask. You can duplicate this, right? You can keep the origin with the mask, right? You can duplicate this, control J or command J, I'm going to hide the origin, right? If you want, you can rename it, yeah, to test, right? I'm going to drag this and arrange it accordingly so that I don't get confused with it, right? And now what I'll do is I'm going to right click on this or right click on the mask, and I'm going to um, apply or delete this mask. Okay, oops, right click, delete mask, or sorry, right click and add mask to selection. Okay, or what I can do is control D. If it's not just gonna go in, what I'll do is I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to make sure it is in rasterize. Now I can apply mask, right? Then what it does is when you rasterize the image, it is no more a smart object, which means the original origin of the content will be now disabled, right? Will be back as a one piece image. Okay, and then you can apply the mask. If you see here, when in smart object, you can't apply mask, you can only delete mask, right? So that's one thing to do, right? I did right click, rasterize the layer so that it becomes, you know, just a single layer without a smart object. Everything is embedded, and now when you can edit the entire image, right? So that is that, right? Before we do any sort of adjustments in terms of puppet pop and so, now we have it clean, right? You can zoom in, you can see it is well cut out, right? If you want it to, if you want to adjust the what they call, if you want to erase all this Adobe or the text here, if you want to erase this, of course you can use the stamp tool, right? And reduce the size. Okay, reduce the size of your stamp, right? And hold alt tab, and then you can edit accordingly. Okay, or you can even use a brush. Now tap on this, make the brush slightly bigger. You can use the soft round, right? Maybe reduce the size a little bit, hold alt, tap on it, and just paint over. Okay, so there's multiple ways of doing it. You can reduce the opacity to 20% and start meddling with the colors and so. Okay, so that is how you want to clean up. All right, how you want to clean up is you take time. All right, take your time and try to clean it up as much as you can. Right, choose the colors which is close by and start cleaning up as such. Right, the only downfall with the brush tool is you will take away the details. So another way of you to have is by using the content aware tool, by holding on to this at the bottom, the three dots, right? You can use a patch tool or healing tool, or here you have the more tools here. Where is it? Yeah, you can use the content aware move tool and so on. Okay, so patch tool, all you have to do is take this and patch it up somewhere there, and it will slowly patch it up like that. Okay, bam. I'll bring it down closer depending how you want to use this. Okay, so that's that, right? So we've already mentioned about this, we have already done this before, so you can do it at your own pace. Okay, so that is that for one. So you can soften the selection and start painting and cleaning up, right? Depending how big is your size, your brush size. Once you have already cleaned up, now the fun part. Okay, so you want this character to move, or you want to change the positioning of the character to make it even more cooler, right? How do you do that is by looking at using the puppet warp where you can obtain is by going to edit, and under edit you've got the puppet warp. Okay, so when you have selected puppet warp, now the cursor will change to a pin. Alright, so you can see here it is changed to a pin. What it does is it gives you an indication of where the points is going to go, like how our skeleton is going to move, right? So as you know, the joints here, where from the arm to the upper arm to the elbow to the wrist and to the hand and to the ball, right? So you can just play around with this to the neck, to the head, right? Depending how close or discreet you want to go. So it is up to you. Okay, I'm going to just tap in just to give you a rough idea. You can undo it, Control Z or Command Z. I'm going to tap it accordingly, right? I'm just going to add all the pins. So the pins is where it is going to control the movement of the object. Okay, so once you're done, right, do not press anywhere. Yeah, you just hover through the points and you can just move this, right? The lesser it is, the maximum it becomes in terms of its influence, right? So if you want to see how the influence is, you can hit on this show mesh. What it does is automatically it will showcase how much it is going to influence. So if I move this across, now this is a bit more wiggly, or you can position it to a degree where it can expand and it can make it even more exaggerated, right? So if the point is not enough or sufficient, this is where it becomes a little off. Okay, this is where you want to have more exaggeration. You can turn this away and adjust it accordingly. Okay, so this is as simple as we can go, right? Say for instance, if you want to rotate each point, hold Alt. Okay, tap Alt once, and you have to go outside of the pointer for it to rotate and twist. Okay, choose the point, hold Alt, and then rotate it. Okay, same goes to the head, Alt once, or hold Alt, or you can even add. Be careful when you hold Alt and tap on the point, it will remove the point. So hold Alt once. So the moment you change the radical, you see this tiny little radical, it will then rotate it accordingly. Okay, so any points that you don't need, for instance it's too much, all you have to do is hold Alt and just delete the points. So you can move this across, right? You can hide the show mesh, and you can do the expansions even more or even much, and where you can have all those big expansions, which means the influence of each and every point is so much. Okay, so the higher the number is, the more it influences, or the more distorted the image becomes, and the stronger the influence of this is going to happen. Okay, so once you're happy with this, press enter, and now you are done with the adjustment. Okay, so that is as simple as it can go with the puppet warp, right? So once you're done with this, all you can do is next is you can have another layer, or you can have another layer where you can change the, you can have a little bit of timeline added to it, but that will be the next round when you can animate and make a GIF. Alright, so for now you can adjust it in this manner and rotate it, so any photos that you have in action like the runner and so, you can add on to this. And moving on is by duplicating the layer, bring it down, double click on the name on the layer and change it to shadow. Alright, now just double click on it and hit color overlay, change the color to something dark, say OK, and now you can go with Ctrl T or Command T where you get the position of the transform. I'm just going to wrap it down here where it's going to sit right on top of the floor. How you do that is by right clicking and hit perspective. This is where you can adjust it. Okay, adjust perspective and also distort. Distort will enable this to fall on the ground. Next, right? All this content will be depending on the light, so I'm just going to show you just a demo, yeah, where the character is going to, or the model is going to float, or it's going to be on the ground or whatever not, right? So you can adjust it accordingly, yeah, and press enter, and his shadow is casting on the floor, and this is then will enable you to go to filters and have a little bit of blur, right? So you can go for a Gaussian blur, and now it becomes a little blurrier because it is far away from the ground. You can make it slightly blurrier or slightly high in terms of its intensity of its blur. I make it slightly about 4 because it's far away, and you press enter or OK, and this is where you get a nice shadow. And this, now you can hit multiply, or you can go with an overlay, right? So this whole layer becomes an overlay on the image below, and you can reduce it, or you can even hit double click on this blending option and go in to slowly mix in to the underlying layer. That okay, so then you get this nice composition. Of course the lighting is a bit off. Why? Because the lighting is supposed to come from the back, and there's no such lighting coming on from the the background from front. All right, so in order for you to add on to this is when you compose it and you add on a layer, and you can play with the colors here. How do you do that? Is by increasing the size of your brush, either by tapping on the close bracket, make it slightly bigger, right? Use a soft light, right? Pick the light from here depending what kind of color light that you want to work with, and all you have to do is slowly tap in a little bit of light, add in a little bit of light, that kind of like casting right on the character. And kapush, this is with the light, and you've got the whole background lit up, right? You can also add in a little bit more of shadow by creating a brand new layer. So this is light leak, we call it, and another shadow, and add a multiply. Choose a color, right? Normally it is blue, yeah, whether it's going to be a lighter blue or whether it's going to be a darker blue. It totally depends on what kind of shadow that you are intending to have. So in my case, I'm just going to go with blue. I can change this color anytime. Let's just click first so that the blending option is off. Now all you have to do is tap in or tap in a little bit of shadow and create this nice dark vignette. So here we've got slightly darker, at night, right? And we've got the adjustment for the light. And that's not only it. Now you have to look at the character, right? So if you look at this character again, this is all coming together what we have done previously in our previous sessions, right? All you have to do is go to image, or you can come in here to the sphere. You see half filled and empty, yeah, at the layer panel. Tap on it, go for curve, or you can even go for a gradient, or you can change the vibration and so, yeah. So normally I'll go look for vibration, or I'll use curve, or you can even use exposure and so. And this is where you come into the properties, yeah, and change the color to what it's supposed to do, right? It changes the entire color of the layer underneath it. If you want this to be only affecting this particular layer or character alone, all you have to do is hold Alt, bring your cursor closer to in between the layers and tap on it. Done. Now it is only affecting that particular layer, changing the colors, choose the reds and so, right, and reduce the amount of red colors that is in, and the greens to be added in, or reduce the green and change it to slightly. Okay, so once you're happy with this, ta-da, the whole composition is done. Can? Was I going too fast? Any questions? Sorry, I have to look to my next screen all the time, yeah, because I'm using double monitor, right? So that's how you edit a motion, what we call motion image. So, right? You can change colors, you can add on a few other stuff, right? You've got to look at how do you want to add the vibrance, or you can change the image. Tapping on the image, choosing the image layer, go to image adjustments, and you can adjust here as well. The only difference between the layer and going through the image edit is when you change anything here, it would not show, right? But if you have any effects here, what happens is it will be able to show it as an effect layer itself, right? So it is a standalone, easier for you to control, right? So if you want to change here, you can even go to the if you want to change the levels of brightness and contrast, you can change it here as a whole, and it will be embedded to the image. Make sense? Hello? Hit vibrance, reduce the vibrance. As you can see, it will slowly decrease the vibrance. You can decrease the saturation a little bit so that it's not too bleeding, and say OK. This is where you can on and off this filter. You can even bring in or reduce the opacity so that it slowly blends in, right? So there's multiple ways of editing, and this is one way of it, right? Say if you want to have a text on top of this, right? You can also have a text over this floor, right? One way of doing the conventional way is by just tapping text and say here, bam, example, right? So this text is very 2D-ish, okay? And what you can do is you can copy or select this, right click and control tap on the thumbnail. Once it selects a pixel of it, yeah, you can copy this, close it, and now control D, create a new layer and go to filters, vanishing point, and this is where you can first reduce the scale 50% perhaps, yeah, so you can see depending on the workspace that you have, 400, maybe about 66%, so it's easy to see. Create a grid, okay, you can increase the size and you can place the band, right? You can scale it, yeah, tapping on this and scale it how big you want it, right? You can rotate this and paste the text right on the floor as such, right? What it does is it will follow the perspective, right? So adjust it accordingly and done. Press enter. Now you get the text. And if you want to change this further, you can just double click on this to create or to change the layer styles by changing the underlaying layer to reveal it. You can even have an opacity to slowly reveal this. Okay, press OK, and you can even go for some sort like a soft light or any other components here. You can go for screen if you want it to be really solid like that, right? And create a mask. Use a brush, make the brush smaller, and erase certain sections of the mask like that with a lower opacity. So now it will slowly blend. Okay, so this blending in depends on how much you want to edit and how far you can take this further. Okay, so the different colors will give you a different effect, different components will give you a different effect. So once you're happy with this, you can add more stuff like gradient tools, or you can make it colorize, or whatever. You can bring in any other images in, and you can add on your perspective components. Got it? Yeah. So this is what we have. Okay. Right. So that's on for the puppet tool and how to create the poster. And for this, I will just group it by selecting all the layers and tap on this folder, and now it creates a group. And here you can name it as freestyler. Bam, done. Okay, so that is that for the freestyle, right? So now I'm going to go on to content aware scale. Before I go into the content aware scale, do you all have any questions to ask, or you are not aware of, or you don't know how to do it? Any questions? No questions? Right. So that's on the puppet tool. Please play around with the puppet tool to have a little bit more fun with that. You can use the other images that has been passed on to you guys, or you can even do a different change for the face and so on. Right? Alright, that's one. Next, if you were to bring in any image as such, right? It's a portrait. I'm going to press enter. Yeah. So this is an image where it is cropped only to the side. Okay. So here, if you were to stretch this, I'm going to stretch this further. What happens is it will only stretch it uniformly, right? But if you want this to be stretched forward and then you want to have all these images to be extended, right? This may not be the best picture, but let's see, you want to have that background to be extended, right? First thing you want to do is go to edit, and you can, content aware scale may not showcase here because it is still as one object. All you have to do is go back and create a rasterized layer, or you want to convert it to a smart object first. Now go to edit, right click, rasterize layer first. Now it is become a single image. Go in and hit content aware scale. Right, with this now, with the current Photoshop, yeah, yes, you can try that. So if you were to extend this, normally when you extend, it will just stretch the whole image. But with the edit and content aware scale has been created, now if I were to stretch this by holding shift and stretching it, it will start to stretch this part and expand. The only thing with this is it will start to distort the image by itself, because it is trying to manipulate the image as much as it can to stretch out the image and fill in the fillers, right? So in order for you to maintain or to pin the center, yeah, all you have to do is next this, right? If you hold, I'll just show you the techniques first. If you hold shift, one side can be stretched. If you hold alt and stretch it, hold alt and shift together and stretch it, this is what you get, right? So it kind of like fills the canvas, right? So if you want to change this, yeah, what you do is I'm just pressing enter. I'm going to go to my lasso tool, L for lasso tool. Choose the one with the lasso here, so it's easier. I'm going to choose the subject matter. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Photoshop, okay, this to be locked. And I go to channels and hit on the mask. Now alpha 1 has been created. Not on it, just leave it as it is. Control D or Command D, right? Go into layers. Now go to edit, go to content aware scale, right? And you see this protect right on top. Tap on it and hit alpha 1, which is in the channel is alpha 1. So it protects that masked area. Now if you hold shift and move forward, and it will start to expand and try to protect that image as much as it can. Because this image is a bit too close, so it still kind of like affects the previous content, I mean the existing content. Okay, so this is how to do it. I'm going to off this and I'm going to choose another image, right? Say for instance, I am going to go in and choose something like, in a second, let me just choose the image, okay, something like this, right? This image here, I'm going to slightly make it smaller just for you guys to see, right? I'm going to stretch this and I'm going to add more. I'm going to fill this empty spaces horizontally, right? So again, what you can do is right click, rasterize layer, choose the image to be protected, right? Or you can even try this out by hitting content over scale, hold shift and drag it, hold shift and drag it, and it will expand well enough to fill lens. You can do that. Can you see the sky is extended, but of course it has limitations. Again, for the bottom, if you can extend, it will extend as much as this, right? So this is one way of scale, right? So if you were to protect this, like what is asking now, if you want to do this, or if you're not happy with this, escape. If you want to protect the family here, all you have to do is use the lasso tool and protect it. So wherever the selection is going to be, I'm going to use alternate to kind of like remove and be a little bit more discreet with my selection. Yeah, and I go to channels, make sure you have this bounding boxes here. Yeah, and you can hit alpha, right? So what it does is it has created another alpha. I'm going to check on this and I'm going to delete this alpha. Yes, I have alpha 2 here. Right, so now control D or command D, I remove this. Yeah, I deselect the selection. I go to edit, content aware scale, and this time I'm going to go to protect alpha 2 and hold shift or alt shift. I'm going to stretch it both sides. Alt and shift will stretch it both sides, and this is what happens. See, the family is now protected and the rest of the background is now extended, and this is how you stretch it. Can see? Okay. You can also do again by going to content over scale, and this time alpha, hold shift and extend as much as you can until the image distorts. So when it says, when it becomes distorted as such, can you see the image becomes a little distorted? That means that's the maximum cap. Same goes with the bottom here and push. You adjust it accordingly and press enter. Now you get an extended image by having the content over scale while defining such a pattern. Again, you don't want to have something that is so distorted and showcasing like a tsunami that is coming in and washing out the entire family. So you have to always check in how is your image is reacting to the content. Got it? Right? So that's how you do some editing. Any questions? Any questions, guys, from the floor? Everybody happy? Yeah. Right. So again, if you were to do more stuff with the content I mean with the content where um, stretching or a scale, or you want to do a little bit with your perspective tool, you can have one this with this, right? So let me just pick up another image, right? So I'm going to look for another image here, say an apartment. Press enter. If you were to fill a text, or if you have any form of image here, right? If you want to have a graffiti on this particular wall that is come or that is being placed right on this wall according to the perspective, all you have to do is go in, look for maybe graffiti, spam, yeah, any images as such. Example, I'm gonna either pick this or pick this. Right, I'm gonna copy this image. Yeah, copy. Right click and copy and paste it here. Bam. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm either gonna have it as an alpha, right? Or I'm gonna choose all this. Yeah, I'm just gonna delete couple, right, and clear it off as a transparent image. Now what I'm going to do is copy this of this, create a brand new layer. Now go into your filter, vanishing point. For vanishing point, so here the vanishing point has already been distorted. Yeah, so if it's distorted as such, normally you can delete this. If you don't see this window, scale it up. So under this, drag this over and change the point. Sit. Adjust it. You can create like this now. Right. Pin it across. When it's red, it means it is not working. Right. I'm just going to roughly adjust it like so. Okay. Choose the lines accordingly to get that nice perspective. Drag it across. Drag this over. Move it across. Move it across. And then hold Shift. Hold Control and make this adjustments and adjust this accordingly to create the perspective surface, something like that. Make sure it's in blue. Now Control V, by right it's supposed to come in. Say OK first, tap this, copy, Control C or Command C, go in here, G, take this back to vanishing point, boom, and Control V. And I drag this over. Now this is going to wrap around that grid. Right, all you can do is next is the transform tool, tap on it. Okay, you can rescale it how much you want by finding the point here and scale it as much as you want. Okay, make sure it is wrapping around, wrapping across as such. Now you've got a nice graffiti on this surface. And see, and press OK. Now you got that. Okay, you can move it across here. Just leave it as it is. Now all you have to do is go in and do an overlay. Done. Alright, so that's how you do some vanishing points. It takes a little time for you to grasp this, the vanishing point. All I'm doing is identifying the surfaces so that when I paste, it will sit nicely on that particular surface. So that is what we call as vanishing. Okay? So your task is play with this vanishing point, add some graffiti to an image that you are finding, and now you can find a better image than this. This is just for demo purpose. You can get this, get this done over with. Right, you can even double click on this and get a blending option. You can do an overlay as such. Yeah, underline layer, reduce it. See that? It kind of like blends in better. Say OK. You can even have an inner shadow, right? So again, depending, whether it's going to be a drop shadow or not, to blend it and say OK. If you want more, you can even do a multiply where it kind of like blends even better depending on the effects, the best effects that is representing your idea. Okay, they can either go with multiply or overlay. If you're going to go with soft light, then it's going to be like it's too for light purpose. Yes, soft light works. Multiply will give you a little bit more darker and more shadowish feel. Overlay, it's going to overlay on an image underneath. Okay, so choose the best option here. Reduce the opacity as much as you want, or you can even go in to have another mask and start painting the mask over to see what is seen, what is not seen, with a reduced opacity as such, and you get this nice blend. Okay, so that's it for any questions. Any questions, guys? Right. So what I want you guys to try out is to try to create a poster with um, with the puppet tool. Change the motion, motion images of the character and sports characters. Change the actions, action changes, right? And then another one more is by using the vanishing point tool to create some sort of a montage of a graffiti on a wall, or you can even add a text as well. Have fun with it, go crazy with it, to create some sort of poster. It's going to be cool to present that a particular theme. Alright, you can even bring a drawing, snap a picture of yours, right? Say you want to do a painting of yours on a particular wall of a building. So you find a building, a picture or photo of a building, you can add all this. You can do multiple stuff within this. You can even make this building look a little bit more older. So it's all about how you want to manipulate this picture, right? So you can play with the mask, which we already covered previously in previous sessions. You want to add more, like for instance, if you want to have a little bit more green or stains right on top of this, again, All you can do is you can go in, look for grunge or dirt texture, right? And you can look for a PNG or any kind of dirt textures here. Okay, choose a dirt texture. Say you have stains on walls, right? Say for instance something like this. Yeah, so you want to have this showcased. I'm going to copy this image, right click copy or save it first. I'm going to paste it over here, right? This is a dead image. Yeah, I'm going to go with an overlay or a soft light or something like that, not dead as such. So you can have a difference here depending how you want to deal with this. You can create go to filters, vanishing point, and you can oops, create copy this, select with the thumbnail, control and hit on the thumbnail left mouse button on thumbnail, control C or command C, copy it, yeah, create a layer, empty layer, go to filter, vanishing point, everything is set, control V, drag this over and scale it. Okay, you will see the boundary boxes will only be seen if it's outside, or the image, if the image is bigger than the vanishing point, then you have to move the image a little bit here and there, place it. You can add some textures right on the surface of the book. Okay, you can stretch it as much as you want, say okay, now it's there. You can even do the difference right now and push. This is how you edit images, right? Okay, so that's it folks for today. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, come out with a poster. Yeah, do some photo manipulation of what you are seeing. I mean, what you intend to do, like some hip hop stuff and so on. Have some fun. Bring in your idea. Go wild with your idea. Do some art stuff, graffitis and so on. Right, and create a poster.
Thank you.
Right, you're welcome.
Thank
I will
you.
see you guys next week. Right, thank you.